Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. This is our first Get to Know Your Farmer event, hosted by yours truly. So I'll tell you just a little bit about Jonesboro Locally Grown if you don't know. So Jonesboro Locally Grown is the overarching not-for-profit that runs both the Boone Street Market and the Farmers Market. Boone Street has been around since 2014 in the old Exxon gas station in downtown Jonesboro. Both markets are a producer-only market with the priority given to farmers and vendors within 100 miles of Jonesboro. And then the farmers market itself has been around a little bit longer, since 2008. And we've moved different places and all that, but we are still a tried and true farmers market that is producer only. And we have one of our newer producers that's been with us since late last summer, which is a Different Chick Farm and Orchard. So how things are going to work tonight is I'm going to hand it over to them in a few minutes. If you guys want to keep your video on throughout the presentation, that's totally fine. I just ask that you keep yourself muted so that we can, just keep things moving along a little bit. And then if you have questions throughout their presentation, feel free to put them in the chat. If there's a natural pause, I'll ask them. If not, we'll have a question and answer at the end. So with that, I will turn it over to Tiffany.
Okay, so we're new to this whole Zoom thing. My kids are not. So I've got one in there running the presentation, and the rest of us are in here going to talk to you all and kind of go through it. So let's go to the next screen. Okay, so I am Tiffany. This is Stephen. And we've actually got 4 kids. Our oldest is actually out of the house. She's been married for 3 years now, Summer. So she's not an active member of our farm anymore because she has decided she wants to go into realty, which is wonderful. But the 5 of us are the ones that run the farm here. So our kids are next. Alyssa. We've got Alyssa, who is 18, Morgan is 16, and Daniel is 13. So how we got started. There's actually a big, long story on how we got started. So in 2011, we moved to our farm. There was just a series of events that happened in our life, began looking for something different, another home closer in Johnson City. One day from leaving church, we happened upon this property, which happens to be right beside of our church. We fell in love with it. The house is very small. If you ever drive by, it's a tiny house, but we've got pretty good property. We've got just under 6 acres. But we bought the property with more of a basic intention of being self-sufficient and having a homestead. So we had goats and we had chickens and we had some small gardens. We actually had horses at one time. And the gardens were actually pretty good size. We had enough to feed us and feed other people. So we moved here, like I said, in 2011. We did use some basic fertilizers when we moved here because we honestly didn't know any difference.
First year only, though.
Right, the first year only. So in 2012, we actually stopped using the chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers that were not organic. So we'll tell you more about those later. But next, so we grow organic, and a lot of people ask us why. So when I was pregnant with Daniel, which is our last child and our only boy, I became allergic to all kinds of different stuff. Dogs, cats, peanut butter, oddly enough, lots of food allergies. One that actually stuck with me, though, was the gluten. I'll tell you about that one. For 4 years, I had been put on medications. I had actually lost weight to where I wasn't sustaining my weight. It was going down and it was becoming a health hazard. I it didn't matter what I ate. I couldn't keep it on my stomach. It was bad. And found out Daniel had a lot of the same issues. So my doctors had been treating me with different medications for 4 years. When Daniel turned 4, the doctors actually found that he had a gluten intolerance problem. It wasn't quite as bad as what celiac is, but it was enough to cause a lot of issues. So when he went on that diet, I decided to go on the diet with him. Previously, I had been diagnosed with a corn and dairy allergy, so I had already cut those off completely. So we actually began a gluten, dairy, and corn-free diet. Later on, Morgan was actually diagnosed with a gluten allergy too. So the more research we did, we found out that a lot of the gluten allergies and a lot of the food allergies are most likely being caused by the chemicals on our foods. They actually said that once the gluten got straightened out, we might go back on the corn and the dairy without any problems. And it so happened about 2 years later, after being 100% or gluten-free and using all organic corn and dairy, we were able to add those back to our diet. We still do not eat gluten because it does cause us issues. But as far as that goes, going on the organic straightened out a lot. So knowing that a lot of those chemicals are what causes the issues with our food allergies, we decided to grow our food organically. So, like I said earlier, I'm Tiffany. This is a little bit about me. When we started our farm in 2011, I was a total city girl. I had never had any experience growing stuff. And I really had a black thumb. I killed everything that I tried to grow. House plants, food. If I touched it, it died. So I was not real thrilled with the idea of having the farm. Now the chickens was okay, and the goats were actually my babies until I found out that the goats were a lot more trouble than I really desired. So, but that being said, over the years, I have really fallen in love with the farming. It's relaxing. It's something that I love. I can come home at the end of the day and go out and be at total peace in my garden and all over our property with the fruit trees and the herbs. It's very peaceful and relaxing. So my favorite thing about the farm is that I get to spend so much time with my family. We can go be out working, and it's hard work farming, but we can be out there and have some of the best conversations we've ever had, which is pretty great. Not any, it's hard to have that at a normal job. So it's pretty cool. And then I love the excitement of eating new foods and then foods that I grew, watching them grow from a seed to a plant, and then they produce food. And then even we save seeds from them. So all that is just really cool to me. Now, Stephen, I'll tell you a little about him, what I've got here, and then he can add to it if he wants to. But all of his life, he was actually an automotive technician. Now, he did have a little bit of gardening experience before because his family was a huge family, and they did do a pretty big size garden in Kentucky. And they were way up in the hills and mountains of Kentucky. So, but all his life, he had been an automotive technician. We even have an automotive repair shop. So, at first, we had a repair shop, and that was the big job. And the farm was just kind of, a side thing. Each year, just like me, but maybe even a little bit more, the aspects of the farm became a little bit more enticing to him. So it's been more days of him being here on the farm instead of at the repair shop, building the infrastructure and doing some of the things that he loves. He loves the peppers and growing the peppers, and he does a great job of that and finding new varieties for us and getting word out there. So he always has loved peppers and tomatoes. That's kind of been his specialty. Some of the other stuff, it's kind of like, y'all can do that one. I still love my peppers and tomatoes, but more and more, he gets more excited about trying new vegetables and fruits. And the orchard and the trees has been mostly his. And then he is our main grafter too. So he is great at all of those things. One of his favorite things on the farm is that he gets to do it with his family, and that he gets to participate in the farming with his family. So anything you want to add to that?
Except for she said we was way back in the hills in Kentucky. We wasn't. It's Eastern Kentucky, Pike County. I live in a little community called Canada, Kentucky. It's in between Williamson, West Virginia, and Pikeville, Kentucky, on US 119. The gardening at our place in Kentucky had kind of come down to more of a small family-sized garden at that point. By the time I got old enough to know what it was, they'd kind of quit the acres and acres. And we never had a 100-acre farm or anything like that. We did have about 100 acres, but it was the farming was set up more on a large scale, what you'd say family farm, building enough to feed everybody. As Dad always said back during the Depression, they said it didn't hurt them that bad because they always grew all their food anyway. So, you know, having no money was normal. Growing your food was a normal way of life. And that's kind of what we work toward here, is the ability to grow our own food and enjoy what we grow. We've had the motto from the beginning on the farm that if we're going to do it, we're going to do it and make it fun. We're going to make, we started in chickens, and we wanted different chickens. And so we wanted to add normal stuff. And that's what we do in our food a lot of times. It's the stuff you can't go to the grocery store and buy. It's what we want to grow, whether it's a tomato variety that you'll never see in a grocery store, or the quality that you won't see in the grocery store. And I really enjoy doing that. That's what I like. And something you may not know about us is talking about, Tiffany mentioned the orchard. Orchard started out as a hobby, and it's a hobby that got out of control real fast. We started with a personal orchard, which is what we call our upper orchard here on the farm. And it was supposed to be just for the family. And we put in a variety of fruit trees, peaches, plums, nectarines, plum cots, pluots, apples, blueberries, and a few other things, and blueberries we put in beside the house. But it got out of control real fast. We now have right around 600 trees on the fruit trees on the property, and right around 250 to 300 varieties of apples on the property. And it's just something we enjoy doing. It's you know, we get to eat fruit that we would never ever get a chance to even touch if we didn't grow it ourselves. So it makes life fun.
Okay, our next one will be Alyssa, and since she is actually running the presentation, I am going to skip for her. So Alyssa has always loved eating healthy food, and being on our farm gives her the opportunity to grow her own food and eat fresh vegetables every single day. She is, I kind of call her our tree hugger of the family. She is, she is always telling us, you know, what we should be doing, what's environmentally friendly. If we go out to eat and they have plastic straws, she refuses them. She even has her little bag of utensils, that's reusable utensils that she takes with her. She's got her little bag of reusable straw, actually not reusable straws. They are reusable. They're the metal and bamboo ones. The metal and bamboo straws. So she is always aware, and she's always, you know, telling us, you know, you can't use that straw, it'll kill the turtles. So
it's not just the turtles.
So she keeps us on our toes. She was quite excited when we were getting organic certified because we were going to be the first in the area. She actually participates in the Green Club at her school too, and kind of keeps them on their toes and keeps them on their track and lets them know, hey, this idea might sound good, but it's not really environmentally friendly. So she's great at that. Obviously, she is in there doing our presentation for us. So that being said, she is really great at the computer stuff, which is sometimes what us older people are not so great at. So she loves that we are organic certified and that she gets to share her ideas and we get to implement them sometimes. And make our farm better and more sustainable. That's, you know, we want to leave our land better off than what we acquired it. So her favorite thing on the farm is her fresh greens and her vegetables. She is not a huge meat eater, and she probably could be vegetarian if she pushed the issue, because she just doesn't really like meat that much, but she loves fresh fruits and vegetables. So next is going to be Morgan. So I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about Morgan, and she can put her 2 cents in, which I'm sure she probably will. So Morgan has many loves on our farm. She loves our chickens. She loves our cats. She is a natural animal lover. If it like has 4 legs and sometimes 2, she's going to love it. She even loves raccoons and possums, even though they're not a great thing to have on the farm. They're still cute and adorable to her. So she does love her fruits and vegetables, specifically the fruits. She loves when our blueberries come ripen, she will go on the hillside and snatch the blueberries quicker than the birds or the cats can get them. So
first.
Yeah, usually it's all 3 kids getting the blueberries. That's the reason the blueberries have continued to grow, is that getting a cup of blueberries to the house is a miracle, because they dry clean them on the way up the driveway.
Yep. So this year we have planted, I think 4 times as many as we had. The next few years they'll start producing great. We'll be able to sell blueberries that are organically grown to our community. So she will always be, unless she has some other prior engagements, at the Johnson City Farmers Market. Now we may flip-flop this year from Jonesboro to Johnson City on who goes to which ones, but everybody loves seeing her smiling face there on Sunday mornings, and she loves getting to know our customers Saturday mornings.
I was just gonna let you buy with it, because I think everybody else understood it. Yeah.
So she loves getting to know people in the community and talking about her love in the farm. So her favorite thing that she had told me a few weeks ago was watching the apples grow, from their little tiny blossoms to their little bitty tiny fruits to a fully ripened apple, and bringing them inside so we can all share it and eat it and enjoy what they taste like. Because we grow a lot of old heirloom apples that you will never be able to taste, which is why we do the grafting, because we can get those type and we can get them here growing. So
yeah, my worst issue is probably, you have to sit there in anticipation, like for the apples and everything. And I'm the one that I don't care if it's a little underripe. I'll still love it and enjoy it and just steal it off the tree. That's probably the worst problem I have.
Takes it a little bit early.
But I really do enjoy the farm, even like the little work that we do. I don't know if you see like the basil. I still enjoy, like replanting that, and that doesn't bother me doing that kind of work. Yeah, I just enjoy everything I can do on the farm. Just makes me happy.
So next will be Daniel. So Daniel over here, and I'll speak for him. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Okay. So Daniel's our youngest kiddo. He was born with a few things on his chromosome that make him a little bit different. So before we moved to our farm, Daniel didn't play with many things. And he didn't eat a whole lot of foods. He was really, really picky. Like he would eat ravioli, which was not good. We found out later because of the gluten allergy. Basically, if it was like Italian spaghetti, he would not eat it. Still to this day, he doesn't hardly eat any spaghettis or any Italian food, because it's probably one of those that's, he knew that it caused him pain and hurt for so long, he stopped enjoying it, even though it is gluten-free the way we make it now. So growing our own food made Daniel really curious about new and different foods. He now enjoys going through the greenhouses and fields and eating fresh picked foods. Yesterday, we actually went through and kind of did our check of everything. He ate lettuce and pink celery and basil and pea shoots, a couple other herbs, some bok choy, some tatsoi. He also ate a pansy flower, which he had never ate before. We've got them actually growing outside. So he loves trying these new foods because we grow them, which is why we encourage a lot of families to grow their own food, because it brings out the excitement of foods to kids when they can actually see them grow. So being on the farm and the new foods and the animals, it really brought Daniel to a whole new level. It made a big difference in his life. You know, he went from not having an excitement ever, hardly on anything, to being excited about animals, playing with toys, and eating new foods. So his favorite things on the farm are, he's got 2 roosters.
What's your pet rooster? What's your buddy's names?
Bob.
Bob and
Who's your other buddy?
George.
George. So these were his 2 roosters. Bob is a blue Bertian Marin rooster.
Feisty.
Yeah, he's quite feisty, but he is great for Daniel.
Daniel's not scared of him.
Yeah. And George is a specialty Polish from Greenfire. We actually tried to breed them.
White-crested cuckoo.
Yeah, white-crested cuckoo. We actually tried to breed them, and they just never worked out for us. So we ended up keeping George because he is Daniel's buddy. Now, his first rooster was Butterball, which was a bantam Brahma. That's right. They had beautiful feather legs and just cute little Butterball. Yeah. So that was Daniel's first little buddy here on the farm. So we like to call Daniel our little chicken whisperer, because there's a lot of times when we can't get a chicken and he can get them and he can calm them down.
One day.
Yeah. So yeah. And you like trying new foods now, don't you? Yeah. And eat green stuff.
What's your favorite food on the farm?
Are the blueberries your favorite, or the strawberries? Strawberries.
Or the fresh chicken eggs.
Is the eggs your favorite?
Yeah. Daniel's favorite thing is having his 3 chicken eggs every morning. So if we ever have a deficiency in chicken eggs from the farm, it's usually because of him, because he could eat them every day, all day long. So so this is Ben and Summer, which is our oldest daughter and her husband. So like I said earlier, they're not working crew members of our farm, but we can't leave them out because they're our family and we love them. So growing up on the farm, Summer always loved horses. Like, this was really, she pushed us to get on the farm because she really loved the horses and growing stuff, and she really liked that life. Unfortunately, she developed extreme severe allergies to horses. I mean, she would have whelks and be clogged up for days. And it was a bad situation. So we had to move away from the horses. We found them good homes. But she always loves coming in and getting our fresh summer vegetables. She's not exactly fond of some of the winter vegetables, the roots and the greens sometimes, but now she does love her lettuces. But she loves her tomatoes and cucumbers and squashes. So
she steals my cucumbers.
Yeah, she does steal Morgan's cucumbers. So they do love their fresh food. So they'll come over here and be like, okay, what you got? So Ben does actually have a history of farming in his family. Not quite the same like we're doing. Ben is actually has been a cattle farmer. His family's got a cattle farm. And he still works on that actively. So Summer is a realtor. She's actually a property executive. So if anybody ever needs a realtor, she is a great one. So one of the things we do here on the farm is grafting. If you ever hear us talk, we will probably bring up grafting one time or the other. Grafting is basically taking a rootstock and which is a good, sturdy, disease-resistant tree, and carefully attaching a scion, which is a new growth of a known tree, and forming them together. So we graft for many reasons. Some of them being disease resistance, tree size, pest resistance, root size, etc. So we began grafting in 2016. Enjoy doing it every year. We actually will be getting our rootstock in just shortly, and we will start our grafting process once again. Stephen is by far our best grafter because he can do.
What you're talking about. I got 2 out of 2. 100% accuracy.
That's true. We all actually take part in it.
Don't mention the varieties.
So, not sure if you can actually see our screen, but if you can, this is actually some that we started early because sometimes pluots and pluaries need that extra warmth to heal up. So they've actually been in our house under extreme closed conditions, so we can watch them like, every day, all day long. So
that one's a 3-in-1, just something to play around with. So we'll have 3 different types of pluots on one tree.
Yeah. So if you ever purchase any of our trees from any of the markets, we've got them listed on Jonesboro Farmers Market. They'll be grafted trees, ones that we have hand grafted. So what's your favorite thing about grafting, Morgan? Good question.
Hanging out there.
We will usually.
I have one. It is not staying up late potting all of it.
No, that's never fun. We always fight about who has to go pot them because it's not the funnest part. But we all get together, and that's another activity we do as a family. So next. So most of you all probably know that we have a nursery and a greenhouse. We are a Tennessee licensed facility, and we actually, our organic certification covers our nursery and greenhouse. We actually we've got vegetable starts, we do herbs, we do plants, we do bushes, greens. We've actually started listing some of our brassicas and some of our greens on the Jonesboro Farmers Market for sale. So if you log on there tomorrow, we'll have a few varieties that you can purchase. It's not quite time to plant them, but you can put them in a safe spot and watch them grow until it is safe to plant them. And it's about the middle of March is usually when you want to start planting your brassicas outside. So
and we'll have tomatoes and peppers and so forth as the season comes around for that. We've already started seeding them, so they'll be available when it's time for it.
And one thing we started last year, and we've done more of this year, is flowers. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but we will also be selling some flower starts. So next. So our fruit trees. If you ever drive by, you will see our fruit trees probably first off, our upper orchard and then our lower orchard. We basically have been putting fruit trees everywhere that we can. We love fresh fruit. We actually started out at our old house on Stony Creek, which we had a basic garden in. We actually had one peach tree, I believe, and 3 peach trees. Okay. Yep. And a couple apple trees. One. So, okay. It's been a while.
It has been a minute.
So our one peach tree was actually by chance. One year we had went towards Georgia and bought a basket of peaches, which were supposed to be Alberta peaches, and they were humongous, like baseball size peaches. I'd canned them, took the seeds, threw them out back, let them in the edge of the garden. And 3 years later, there was a little seedling that popped up.
Bunches of them.
Yeah, and then it happened to be, we let that one seedling grow into a full-size tree. The year before the year we were getting ready to move, that spring, seedlings popped up everywhere. So we had, I think, about 20-some trees we took with us. We have 7 of those still growing, which was the original trees we planted here on our farm. And my dad's actually got 2 of them. So it's odd. A lot of times when you plant stuff from seed, now apples, if you try to plant from seed, you're probably going to get something like a crab apple. Peaches, you may actually get some good fruit. Ours are good varieties. They taste great. They're pretty good sized. Some are freestone, some are clingstone. You just don't know what you're going to get. Now they do produce the same thing every year, but it's this tree will produce this kind, the next tree will produce a different kind. So,
similar, but not the same.
Right. Kind of got getting a pig in a poke when you get your seeds and try to grow them from seeds. So,
but it's fun.
Yeah. And we intend on in the next few years to start doing some apple seeds and growing them, see what kind of varieties we can get, see if we can get a new, better variety or some with some like a red flesh variety that tastes a certain way. So all things that we are planning and are interested in doing in the future. Now, along with our trees, we do have other fruit. We grow grapes, which we just started planting them last year. So it'll be a few years before they produce enough for us. Blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, and we're actually upping our strawberry production this year. Blueberries, currants, gooseberries, elderberries, all are kind of within mulberries, yeah. Within the next few years, they should come into pretty good production. We'll see what they do this year. Strawberries, we'll probably have some that we can sell this year. Blueberries we may, and then elderberries we make elderberry jelly, we make elderberry syrups, and probably with as many as they produced for me last year, I will probably sell dehydrated elderberries also. It's not one of those things you really want to sell fresh, because once they are ripened, they have a 1 to 1.5 day window before they are gone. They start rotting immediately. So that's one of those things you got to pick and do something with immediately. So So our big thing that we grow is vegetables. Obviously, you will see it in the farmers markets and through our website. That's our main things that we do. We grow all types of vegetables. This year, we actually have grown vegetables all year round, and hopefully we'll be able to increase those numbers and increase production this year on all that. We've actually got a couple high tunnels going up that we are intending on growing winter crops in also, to grow a little bit more than what we can. The winter crops we grew this year were all in the covered. So that was pretty good. We had topsoy and radishes, carrots we had in raised beds, which worked out great. We love growing them that way, except for when it freezes solid, then you can't get them out, but that's okay. Kale, spinach, all things we grew without any covers whatsoever. We do grow extremely interesting varieties of vegetables. We love our cauliflowers that are purple and green. We actually grow heirloom varieties that are purple and green, which are kind of hard to find. We started calabri this year, which is new to us.
And purple calabri?
Yeah, purple and the green kind. I think we got the green kind. Yep. And just
how many different types of basil?
Pretty much any type of basil you can think of. We grow lime and lemon and cinnamon and licorice and large leaf and Genovese and opal and Thai, holy, and I'm sure there's a spicy globe and a dwarf, and I'm probably I got the dark opal, yeah. So there's probably a few I'm missing, but we really like our basils because you can use them in cooking every day. But if you can produce it, we will probably be growing it, because we have really widened our horizon on vegetables, and we eat what we grow. So, the good thing is, if we grow it, we can tell you about it. We can tell you if we like it, if we don't, if this is the way to fix it, or if this way is a terrible way of fixing it. One of our things is okra. We love okra in this family. Like, Morgan is an okra-aholic. Yeah, fried okra and sauteed okra. Yes. Like a skillet sauteed to a crisp is just amazing.
We grow about 7 different types of okra, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we actually grow some. A lot of people on okra are concerned because they don't like that sliminess on the inside. So we've got a couple of varieties that don't have that sliminess, which make really good fried okra too. Even Daniel had a lot of issues eating okra before, but you like okra now too, don't you? Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. So flowers is one of those things that we were like, well, nobody really does flowers unless you're a huge operation and you're doing flowers professional. professionally. But last year we decided to interplant our flowers with a lot of our vegetables and fruits, and companion plant, which works well with marigolds. But we also found zinnias were great for attracting beneficial insects. So we actually grew zinnias and snapdragons and coxcomb and several different flowers last year. And we had so many, and they grew so well along with our fruits and vegetables that we started selling them, and we had people that loved them. So we've upped our flower production for this year, or our hopes of upping our flower production this year. And we've actually got certain types of flowers and herbs to interplant throughout our vegetables and fruits to deter pests, to help with diseases, and to attract beneficial insects. So our goal is with the flowers to be able to have organic flowers to sell, because that is another item that we are organic certified for now, is flowers. So you will have certified USDA organic flowers that we will have, but we can also use them to help deter this stuff, so we don't have to spray, or we can reduce the amount of sprays that we have to do.
Right. Some people think because you're organic, you don't spray anything. It's just you don't spray anything that's toxic. And so but you also, on top of the organic certification, that's a big difference in what some people call organically grown, is you look for ways to slow down your use of any input to your garden. And by any input, that means you're looking for ways to use less fertilizer. Even though we use an organic fertilizer, you're looking for ways to use less of it. You're looking for ways to use less organic sprays. You know, we use some organic sprays on our fruit trees and so forth because you have to. But in the garden, we don't do much spraying at all. And that sometimes contributes to the blemish that you'll get on some of our produce. But our motto has always been that we would rather have the blemish and not have to spray it if at all possible. There's a few things you produce that not spraying is just not an option. You won't be growing it if you don't spray it. And peaches and nectarines is one of those things. If you don't and we use an organic spray, but if you don't spray it, you're not going to eat it because the bugs will destroy it.
Like my poor nectarines last year.
Yeah.
But so we try to limit our usage of that stuff, and we only spray, instead of spraying everything, we only spray what has to be sprayed. And only if we can get by with one spray, it only gets one. It ain't gonna get a spray every 12 days. It'll get it one time, and that's it if we can get by with that. So the flowers is what Tiffany's talking about, and the herbs help us to deter some of the pests and attract beneficial insects that actually feed on the pests that you don't want in your garden. So there's a lot of wisdom behind some of that stuff.
So a lot of people have started asking, what is the difference between certified naturally grown? Because we were certified naturally grown from 2018 till I have not renewed ours for this year because we are certified organic, and we just did not see the need for the extra. So we actually became certified naturally grown in 2018. We found the program. The organic was something that we were interested in, but we just couldn't justify the cost of it. You know, we were really small in production at the time, so it wasn't something that was
a hobby.
Yeah, it was a hobby, so it wasn't feasible for us. So the big things on certified naturally grown, you actually have other certified naturally grown farmers that come inspect your farm. They don't have a specific inspection person. You just have somebody local that is CNG, and they come and they do your inspection, look at everything and see if it looks like it's, you know, grown naturally to them. The certified naturally is community based, so it is more for very small production farms, not for larger production farms, and it's, you know, something that's known in the community, not really nationwide. Now, certified naturally grown is based out of New York. Like their offices are in the middle of the city, like way completely just in the middle of the skyscrapers. So it's a bit different. So in the CNG program, they restrict the use of synthetic chemicals and genetically modified items. So the thing that we found out was with the organic, there's a lot of things that CNG allowed, and the organic certification was like, no, that is absolutely not allowed. That is 100% restricted. You cannot use that. There's a lot of chemicals that they came up with that were being allowed on CNG that organic will not allow, because the manufacturer will not actually tell them what ingredients are in their products, even though they label it safe for organic use. So also with the CNG program, you've got a whole lot less paperwork. You know, when you do the inspection process, there's about 5 or 6 pages that you got to fill out and do, just basically questions and answers to them. And CNG is basically more on a trust relationship. You know, they don't come out there and do any testing of anything. They don't go back and check receipts, so on and so forth. So it's a little bit different, but
it's a great program.
Yeah, it is wonderful. We did it for a long time. There's a lot of really great farms in the area that are CNG now. So it's really cool. It's really great. But we were just looking for a little bit more. So now I'll tell you about organic certification. So with organic inspections, you have a certified USDA organic inspector. It happened to be, thankfully, our closest one was in Asheville. So we didn't have to spend a whole lot getting him here, which was wonderful.
Blessing.
Yeah, very big blessing. So that's what he does. He studies organic. He knows his stuff. He knows what's allowed. He knows what's not allowed. He knows how things should work. He knows what to look for. He knows, you know, all the ins and outs of the program. You know, that's his job. It's not just a hobby for him. It is actually his job. So in the organic program, all materials used, if you use fertilizer, if you use pine bark, if you use compost, if you use peat moss, if you use a post, any type of wood that will touch the soil at all, it has to be recorded and approved before you are allowed to use it. Now, they do not allow, not at all, any treated lumber. So lumber for us is a challenge because we have to find someone who does cedar or black locust or oak, which also raises the price. But you know what? Once you think about it, that treated lumber has a lot of chemicals that's getting into your soil. You don't know what that's going to cause down the road. So that is definitely one that, you know, needs to be kept up with and checked. Now, as far as the materials go, the process is you have to do your research. You have to find a product that you're going to be using. You have to submit that product for approval. Now, the organic program does their stuff. I mean, they do the research. They know the ins and outs. They know how it's produced, where it's produced, what uses it's for. Now, there are some things on there that will be approved, but they will only be approved for a certain use at a certain time with a certain item. You know, a certain bug or a certain plant.
Yeah, just because it's approved to be used on squash don't mean they'll approve you to use it on a tomato.
Right. So everything has to be approved, and it takes about a 4-week process to get each item that you're going to use, whether it's you know, the pesticides or herbicides. It takes a while to get it approved. So one thing we found out through the process, and I touched on it last slide, was that just because an item says for organic use does not mean that it's actually able to be used organically. There was
it's basically a lie, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, because they will not disclose to you nor to the USDA what is in their product. But because they use the word for organically approved organic gardening, or for organic use, and they don't actually say that it is organic, they can get by with it. And that's not something that they get smacked on the hand for or anything. So it's kind of a messed up scenario.
And it's just something to keep in mind when you're looking for organic products. You want something that is certified organic or USDA organic, because just because they say that it's for organic use or it's organically made, that does not mean it's certified. It's just it's a play on words.
Yeah. Now, one of the things we have found was OMR is almost always safe for organic use and will be approved. But there are instances it's not. So just because it has an OMRI label does not mean that you can use it 100%. So organic wants the farmer to use all means possible to not have to use any chemicals, pesticides, or herbicides. They want you companion planting. You know, if they know that planting onions beside your cabbages will make the cabbage worms not fly around, or the cabbage worms and the moss not fly around and infect your cabbages, they want you to do that. If they know planting, one of these things that we're going to start doing is planting lavender at the base of some of our fruit trees, because lavender is one of those things that deter a lot of pests that we don't want on our fruit. They want you to find that out. They want you to use all natural methods if at all possible without having to use anything on your crops. So they want you to build your land to be improved with the farming use. They don't want you to make your land unusable for future generations. They want you to leave it better than what you started. The big thing with organic was it required a ton of record keeping. They want to know where your seeds came from. You know, there are some seeds that we cannot acquire that are organic. Now, they are organically grown and they have not had any treatment on them whatsoever. And they are non-GMO.
No treatment on them.
Right. We have to have written statements from the suppliers that we use that if they're not organic. So we have to keep record of every single item, how many seeds, all of that we are using that are not USDA certified organic. Now, even with the certified organic, you have to keep up with where you bought them from, how old they are, when you used them, and so forth. Now, the seeds, they not only want to know what the seeds are, they want to know what you put them in. So your soils that you use, they have to be organic approved. They have to go through the same thing as anything we spray on our crops or use on our crops. So when you buy our plant starts, they are organic certified. They want you to know, or they want to know when the seeds were planted, how many came up, what you planted them in, any fertilizer used, when you planted them outside, and not just when you planted them outside, you have to keep up with the production of them. With the pest load, with the weed load. And you have to keep up with all of that. And then you also have to keep up with how much you sold, because they want to know and make sure that what you sold is the same thing that you planted. So you don't have any of the issues that you go to your neighbor and be like, hey, my squash did really bad. Can I take some of your squash to market? Because they're going to know you did that. So they want to make sure that what you sell is organic and from your farm. So that's kind of the basics of the organic and the big differences with CNG. Now here are just some pictures of our produce and fruits that we've got. Some strawberries, some of our root vegetables.
Don't technically have it all right now.
Yeah.
We wish all this was available at the moment.
Most of these were actually taken last year. You can see our broccoli and our cauliflowers down in the corner. That's actually some of our green mozzarella cauliflower, which turned out a little bit white on some of them. Some of them are lime green, and then some of the purples are bright purple. And then, of course, if you bought our carrots on Jonesboro Farmers Market, you see we grow a big variety, all different colors. We like getting all those different colors in there. So, and we've got a picture of Alyssa in the greenhouse. That's what Morgan mentioned earlier. None of our favorite job is potting up trees, but it has to be done. I don't mind it one bit,
but I can't graft and pot.
And then up in the right corner is we actually built a bed last year for lettuce production and radish production that is shaded out. So we can actually grow those during the summer without,
slower,
yeah, so we don't have the bolting, which is pretty awesome that we can grow some of these colder crops in the heat of our summer. And then of course you can see on the bottom corner there's one of our tomatoes. That's probably Dark Galaxy, Morgan.
I thought it was a lucid gem.
Looks like lucid gem.
Okay, maybe lucid gem. I'm not great on all the tomato varieties, so we grow.
Okay, that's why we're here.
Yeah, we grow tons of tomato
We grow
varieties.
over 100 varieties of tomatoes.
Yeah. So
So you can understand why we get a little confused.
okay. Daniel picking corn and some of our greens, and we grow all types of melons and watermelons too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like
Eggplants, all types of greens, herbs. We have chamomile did amazing last year. So in our CSA boxes, we actually put chamomile in a lot of those. And then you can see that's a lot of our varieties of tomatoes. We love the colors. So we've got lots of ways to contact us. We've got our website at differentchickfarm.com. We do Facebook, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. So if you ever want to see how we work and how we run things around here, you can find us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We actually started last year kind of upping it up since nobody was able to get out and do farm tours for Appalachian Resource and Development. So we decided to start that way, and it just kind of grew into the thing. And we had a lot of our customers and family and friends want us to do more videos, kind of showing them what we do. And then you can email us at adifferentchickfarmandorchard@gmail.com.
And if you got any questions about our CSA or getting our produce, just let us know.
Thank you guys so much. That was so great. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat. And all right, so Lee, how did they connect with Boone Street Market? So they actually applied to sell at the Jonesboro Farmers Market online late last summer, is that right, Tiffany?
Correct.
I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, late last summer. So they've been pretty busy lately, so they're not quite selling in Boone Street Market yet, but they're with us online at the Farmers Market. And then if we're able to open the in-person starting in May, they'll probably be there with us as well.
Yes.
And as we get production up, we intend on selling at Boone Street Market also. It's just one of those where winter has been slow for us because winter growing is new to us. So
yeah, we're ramping up production. So as things get easier and better for us, more streamlined, we'll have more available. Right now, we don't have quite enough to justify going to the Boone Street Market, but we're getting close.
Well, and with the weather this winter, it's been tough for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
So. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments or anything like that? Lee asked again, where did the name of your farm come from?
We started out with chickens as a hobby, and so everybody, I think except for me, decided it would be a different chick farm because we didn't raise regular chickens. We raised rare breed and exotic chickens.
And then the orchard came later as we decided we wanted the orchard, so we added that onto the name. So we actually, for a long time, raised the chickens and all over the country. We'd ship them out, on a weekly basis. Yeah. So it's kind of odd being able to ship birds, little baby one-day chicks to Alaska and then survive. So, pretty cool.
So how many different breeds of chickens do you have now?
We are downsizing the chickens to basically an egg layer and hobby flock at this time. We have made that decision over the winter in order to ramp up vegetable production, and we're putting up, hopefully in the next 3 weeks, a 30 by 72 foot to be divided in half. So 2 30 by 36 foot greenhouses, and the one will be heated so we can grow year round. And that's a large amount of work to take care of those And it actually a 30 by 72, one person's about a full-time job for them. So in order to do that, the chickens are going to kind of go by the wayside. We hate to see them go, but we can't do the other things with it. And we knew as the orchard got bigger, the chickens would have to downsize. This is just a little earlier than we expected.
Sure. We currently have like 9 varieties.
No,
at one. How many?
We have like 13.
Okay, we have 13. Morgan deals with chickens.
Yeah, they're my job.
Yeah, so she knows. We at one time had over 40 varieties. Yeah, over 40 different breeds that we dealt with. So
all we did was chickens then. There was no time for nothing but chickens.
Sure. And then do you give tours of your farm to people that want to come out and take a walk around and visit?
We do. We have specifically a lot of times did the Appalachian Resource Development Council farm tours. We've done those several years now. Last year we didn't get to do those because of COVID. Don't know if we're going to be able to get to do it this year or not, but we do. We try to schedule some specialty farm dates. And
we haven't set nothing in stone yet. So if they want to watch our Facebook page and our website, we are probably going to do 2 tours that'll just be us this year. So nobody else will be involved other than we'll schedule that and we'll bring everybody in. I want to do one during peak harvest season so they can see what we're actually growing and producing. And then we would like to do one maybe early on when we get the garden semi-planted. So there'll probably be one early fall and one early summer.
All right. And what types of spring veggies can we look forward to?
Everything.
We do have a lot. We are actually getting ready to put up a high tunnel, which will have early peppers, cucumbers, and tomatoes in it. Right now, we currently, we've got one of our smaller high tunnels that we just planted with a ton of cut and come again lettuces, mustard greens, kale, heads of lettuce, spinach. We've got radishes seeded and growing in one of our other greenhouses. And then we've actually got already seeded and coming up ready for that March date that's safe to plant. We've got peas. We started pea shoots, which we will start having those exclusively. We've started our green mixes back on Jonesboro Farmers Market too.
There'll actually be pea shoot listed for this week's market.
So we will be planting peas, calabrese, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, spinach, Asian greens, which will include like your topsoys, your bok choys, your mizunas, radishes, carrots, turnips this year. We've never grown turnips before, so we're doing those. Mustard greens, collard greens. Hopefully we'll have some early cucumbers, and we will actually have some specialty cauliflower that's called a flowering cauliflower. It comes in little small shoots instead of a whole head of cauliflower, which is pretty cool. And I'm sure I'm missing something.
I guarantee we're missing 1,000 things because our germination / grow room is stacked to the ceiling right now, so it's everywhere.
Well, carrots are outside on them.
Yeah, carrots. We've been supplying some carrots through the winter. Next year we hope to double that production, but as we get closer to spring, those will start growing a little faster. So that'll be a little more going on there. And then obviously as we get on up into spring, there'll be other stuff going. Then when we get into summer, of course, that'll be our main crops, and we'll have quite a bit of that. And we'll actually have some peppers in early spring. I'm actually some lucky person this week benefited from it at the market. I had one 10-pack of peppers that we was able to sell in a mild hot pepper. So we've got some that are starting to come on. We've overwintered them and they're starting to come into production. So there'll be a little bit streaming through here and there. And as we get into spring, there'll be a lot more peppers available.
We will have some spring onions. One of my favorite things is the scapes from garlic. That's one of the first things that you get. I love them. They taste great. They're really healthy for you. If I don't sell them, if I don't use them, I actually dry them and make powder out of them, which this year I think I had 2 pints and they're about gone because I use it in everything. So that's always pretty cool to have the scapes, and everybody loves them.
Wonderful. Let's see. So both Lee and Shelly are saying, thank you so much for doing this. Lee specifically said that she really appreciates your enthusiasm and love for what you're doing. And we're all happy that you're with us at JFM and hopefully Boone Street Market here in a little bit. So, all right, if there are no more questions, we will end it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for being on with us and just tuning in for our first event. We do have the next 3 months scheduled, so put the last Tuesday of the month on your calendars. March the 30th is going to be Serenity Knoll Farm, and then April 27th, I think it's the 27th, is Purple Valley Farm. So they're the ones with the honey and the creamed honey, and they make caramels for those of you that shop at Boone Street Market or at the Farmers Market. And then May 25th, I believe, is going to be Ziegenwald Dairy, which is a goat cheese producer from Gate City, I want to say. So we're super excited to have you guys as our first one in this series, and then very excited to have everyone for hopefully the next 3 or 4. So.
Awesome.
All right. Y'all have a great night, okay?
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Right.